Obviously, you have some resources at hand, like when developing this, but what was the mental gymnastics like for you to, are you just like refamiliarizing yourself with everything? How intensive is the combing process? Or is it just like, I got to distance myself from this just a little bit so I can add my own coat of paint and I don't constantly have to hear the what would King do knocking at my chamber door kind of thing?
It's a great question. It's a little bit of both. For me, I reread the book very intensely, and I wrote down little details that I knew I wanted to include, little things that were questions that I felt like weren't answered or that I wanted more answers to. And then from there, I really crafted my own thing and was trying as much as possible to just give myself as a Pet Sematary fan the answers that I had always wanted since I had watched it as a kid. And that was kind of my North Star of like this film should actually need to exist, right? Like this should give fans something that they haven't seen before, answers to questions. And that's what I was always striving to do.
Yeah. Speaking of like moments that are very specific, I feel like you find all these great little truth bombs amid all this insanity. Um, I imagine like probably as a filmmaker, like the shiny object is like the reanimation part of it all. But
Yeah.
you have all these moments of pause, and there's like these great lines that are inserted through moments of dialogue where two characters are conversing with each other, such as what was it like too short for unfinished business. There's the man can dream, but sun casts a bigger shadow. Like all these little lines that feel like you can just kind of stitch on a pillow. Oh man, the one that spoke the most to me was that only children can tell the whole truth. I don't want to ruin too much of what you wrote down here for people to experience, but I'm just curious about like that, just being able to take moments of pause and just like really allow humanity to breathe into the narrative.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I that is why I wanted to do Pet Cemetery because for me it, it's a horror movie, but it's a horror movie second and it's a drama first, and the book
Yeah,
itself doesn't even become a horror book until like the last half, and the first half is a family drama and also has this absurdist like inner monologue of Lewis that's a comedy that's running through it. It's this mishmash of genres. And I wanted to be able to really lean into that and have it's not just lots I mean the movie is very bloody and has a lot of kills and a lot of scares, but I wanted to make sure that at its heart this was a relationship drama that just
yeah,
happens to be really fucking scary.
yeah. I think part of what makes you like find these ways to kind of bridge between the drama and horror through like these moments of rawness. Like for instance, in the original 1989 film, the part that always gets me as a parent is Gage saying no fair. And
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
have moments like that that are in this, whether it involves a dance or that just feel very raw and human and kind of disturbing all
Yeah.
at once. I'm curious about kind of if you, without giving away like what actually happens within those moments, but just kind of crafting and shaping those moments.
Yeah, I mean, those were the moments that to me make the film and that the film's about, and making sure that every every moment is as intimate as possible. You know, whether it's a kill scene or a moment between two friends or a brother and a sister, and that sometimes that meant close shots and extreme close shots, and sometimes it was just about where the camera was placed or
Mm-hmm.
you know, in addition to the very kind of close emotionality between the characters.
Yeah. What about do you do you more favor writing scenes of dialogue that illustrate these thoughts? I already brought up those lines, but then you'll have moments that are very impactful that say a lot of things without dialogue, such as a character backing out of the driveway, seeing a tree house. Anybody who's a kid can be like immediately identify with that, or a son playing catch with his dad, things like that.
Absolutely. Well, for me, that it's always so important to be able to say so much through a look or an image. That's, you know, why we make something into a movie and not just a film. You know, it has to stand on its own. For me, a movie has to be able to make sense, even if you turn the volume off. And so much in life goes unsaid, and also just death is such a persistent theme in Pet Sematary. I wanted there to be these kind of a lot of moments of silence, because death is silent. And so you'll notice, if you watch the film, that there's tons of scenes where you don't have a lot of score. It's more about silence and sound design, cutting into the silence and kind of using those real moments of life as almost like violent moments.
Yeah. What about like putting, I don't know how to really describe it, but it's just like these bursts of comedy.
Yeah.
Like there'll be a serious moment happening, and then all of a sudden the character will say something like, "Oh crap, why are you sexy?"
Yeah.
So, what about doing things like that, like trying to figure out the punctuation of the tone, I guess?
Yeah, it was always a tightrope to walk, but I wanted to be true to life. Life isn't just a horror movie or a thriller or a comedy. It's all of those things. And at least for me, during the worst times of my life, like me and the people around me were still making jokes. We're still trying to smile. We're still trying to like kind of cut through it with coping mechanisms and humor. And I just wanted to show that.
Yeah, yeah. What about in terms of like one of the themes in this film is secrets and our dark thoughts? I won't say like where they come from within this story, but I'm curious like how this film changed your relationship with secrets and things like that in the different faces that we may wear.
It certainly just made me think a lot about parents and children. And, I think as when we're growing up and even when we're supposed to be adults, we judge our parents through this lens, like they're supposed to be perfect. And then you grow up and you realize, no, your parents aren't perfect, or your parents had secrets, or your parents were just trying the hardest they could, and you judged them for doing everything wrong, but you had no idea what they were going through.
Right.
So it just made me think a lot more kind of maybe fairly about judging previous generations, but also holding them accountable.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. I know we're just about out of time, but I wanted to ask hypothetically if you could go back and direct a scene from the original just to kind of see what you would bring to it, just to tease the idea, what scene would you pick?
I know what scene I would pick, but I don't want to say what I would do differently, because that was that artist's work, and they did their thing on it. I feel like you know, um, I think the movie shows what my version of Pet Sematary is, but it's a really fun question that you asked, and now I have a very fun scene in my head.
Well, good. I'm glad.